Coffee with Coach. I can't wait.
Okay, welcome back to Coffee with Coach. This is Kristen Holbrooks, head coach of the Lake Dallas High School volleyball team. I'm joined today by a very special former Falcon, Ruthie Forson, who's a great volleyball player and equally as great and one of my favorite humans. Before we start getting to know Ruthie beyond the court, which is the name of our series, I want to share with you the accolades this young lady has acquired while being a part of LDVB and her first year at Southeastern. While she was at Lake Dallas, Ruthie was an academic all-district recipient. In 2018, she was a part of the all-area team. 2018 and 2019, she was setter of the year for her district. And then she also, her senior year, was named Texas Christian Athlete of the Year. While at Southeastern, as a freshman, Ruthie received honorable mention recognition for her conference and was also MVP of her team. So before we start, Ruth, what is our coffee of choice today?
Today I got the Grande Vanilla Sweet Cream Cold Brew.
And by the looks of it,
it is very good.
Very tasty. Okay, so to start off with, tell us a little bit about you and your family.
I am the youngest of 4 siblings. I have 2 brothers, 1 sister, all like 7 years older than me. They're all married, have children. I have like 1 niece, another one on the way, and can't even count. 5 nephews, 4 nephews,
And
4 nephews, and then mom and dad, and yeah, pretty big family.
What do your parents do?
My dad is a pastor at Lake Sharon Community Church, and my mom was a preschool teacher.
Very good. Why volleyball?
Volleyball for me, I mean, I grew up around sports, like, very young age, so I played a lot, but I think volleyball was just, my sister played volleyball in college, so it's kind of just something I fell in love with other than the other sports.
What other sports have you played?
I played basketball in high school, also played soccer, softball, and I played tennis in middle school. So
Quite the athlete.
I know.
So tell us a little bit about how you feel like you've grown from high school to now as a player and a person.
I think I've grown in both of those very much.
Agreed.
I think as a player, as my position as a setter, we lead in offense, so it's kind of, you have to be confident in that area and good at speaking to your players, and I think I've grown majorly in that. And as a person, I think ever since I got to college, my faith and just spiritually I've grown more than I ever could imagine. Learned to stand strong and firm in what I believe in, no matter what other people think.
Very good. You also had the opportunity to kind of help lead an organization in college that relates to your faith.
Yes, FCA.
Okay, so what is your role with that? And is it the same in high school or is it a little different?
It's basically the same in high school. Just get together and you have a lesson, we play games, and it's good to know other athletes.
So you fellowship with Christian athletes?
Yes, I do.
What is the most important life lesson that you've learned through your years of competing in athletics?
There's definitely a lot, but I think the most important one would probably be finding my identity outside of volleyball, not putting it all into volleyball and realizing who I am without it, because you never know when you can be taken away.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's good. When we talk about bringing an entire package, it kind of looks different for each athlete and person that I've talked to. Tell us about what all you're involved in at Southeastern, the benefits of being involved, And then how do you find balance with being an athlete and all the extra demands of college?
Well, FCA, like we already talked about. Also in SAC, which is our Student Athlete Advisory Committee, we basically plan like fundraisers, go through like the rules of regulations of student athletes, and we get together like once a week, play games, activities, and then plan the rest out, which is good. Make friendships outside of just your sport. It's hard to be a athlete and have all the other organizations. You have to be really good at time management, which is something I, have learned probably the hard way. But honestly, like SAC meets like Monday nights, and then FCA's Wednesday night. So you kind of just plan around like, okay, you have practice, and then you have like an hour, and then you go to that organization. So it's kind of like you have to plan your homework around that. So it's like, okay, so then Tuesday night, that's when you get all your stuff done. That's when, it's just time management really comes into play here.
And then with college, what nights are game nights?
Tuesdays and Fridays and the weekends, pretty much.
So tell us a little bit, because again, this is varied with every person I've talked to. What is the most challenging and most rewarding part about being on a team?
Oh, man. Most challenging, I would have to say, for me, is getting to know your teammates and knowing their personalities. Because, you have people that take things a certain way, and then you have people that take things the other way. So I think for me, it's just learning, because you have to play with those teammates. So knowing them is going to be easier to play. And then I think another challenging thing probably be when your team like hits that brick wall of like, so you have a week of good practices, and then you have like 3 days where it's just off, and you just hit that brick wall, and you're all kind of just tired and out of it. I think working through that and getting through that brick wall is probably most challenging. Most rewarding? Oh, man. Probably just winning. You have a group of girls that become like family, and you're all playing the sport you love. So I think winning and having fun with those people is most rewarding.
So how do you mentally and physically, or how did you, overcome the setbacks of your first year of college volleyball looking kind of wonky because it was during the pandemic?
Oh, man. My attitude towards the pandemic at the beginning wasn't the best, but I quickly learned that getting upset about things that I can't really control is, not very good. So I kind of just went with the flow and took advantage of the extra time I had on my hands when we couldn't really do much. And it was hard, but.
So like we and a lot of people that are going to be watching this know what it looked like for high school. How did it impact college?
Well, we didn't get to have our normal camps in the summer, and when we got there at the beginning of the year, of course we had masks. We wore them like everywhere, practice, everything. And then our season was pushed back to the end of January is when we started. So having that fall semester, like not playing volleyball was a little awkward and weird, but that's pretty much it.
Did you still get to train?
Yeah, we still had lifting and practices every day. So.
And then kind of different from us, I know with college athletics, you guys how often did you have to test?
Oh, we tested like once or maybe 2 times a week before, and then when season start, it was like before every game, pretty much.
Dang. Yeah. Talk about the hardships that your family has been through and how your faith helped you overcome all of those adversities.
Okay. My dad was diagnosed with cancer at the end of my senior year of high school, around February, which was then a month later, and the pandemic hit, so we were kind of our world was rocked a lot right then and there. But once it hit, we kind of we all had our doubts, we all had our struggle at the beginning, but we realized that, like, obviously we can't control it, and we kind of just let Like, we knew God had a plan. We trusted his plan, and no telling how many prayer times we had, how many prayer groups we had. And that's honestly, it was a struggle, but we just had to realize, like, we can't control it. We prayed our way, and we let God do what he wanted to do.
Got through it. And so now, looking, 2 years later? Yeah. 2-ish years later?
Something like that.
Where are we at with that?
He had a transplant a month ago, and he is honestly better than he has been in a long time, and he is back to doing everything normal. He drives himself places, go places on his own, pretty much back to normal.
Is he preaching?
And he's preaching. Last 2 Sundays. Been good.
What are you going to take away from athletics beyond the court? So, like, future, maybe your next few years of college or even further in life?
A lot. One of them, probably just what I've learned about always giving 100% in every aspect of my life and not just putting it all into volleyball in, like, everything I do. Probably what I take away most.
What are some of your goals?
Can
be volleyball or just in general.
Honestly, right now my goal is just to play volleyball, get through college, and then live day by day knowing that God has whatever he wants me to do.
What do you think the biggest difference, and I'm anxious to hear this because you're the first one I've been able to ask this to, biggest difference between college and high school athletics?
College athletics is definitely a full-time job. You're always doing something. You either lift, practice, or you volunteer for other things. You have the organizations you're in. It kind of just never stops. And it's more competitive, fast-paced. Practice is 100% more fast-paced. And yeah, just more competitive all around.
Do you think the dynamics of teams look any different in college than in high school, besides the skill level and stuff?
I wouldn't say really different. I mean, I think just the competitive side of it, obviously, but
everybody's there to compete.
Yes. Yes.
Is there a quote that you like to live by?
One I've always stuck with me is Romans 12:2. Do not be conformed by the pattern of this world, but transformed by the renewing of your mind. Kind of something I've always stuck with.
What about, do you have any advice for players that are wanting to play at the next level?
Do what you love, and love what you do. Never take things for granted. I kind of learned that the hard way during this last year. You never know when things can be taken away. And learn or build a life outside of your sport. Don't just build it inside of your sport, because, again, you never know when that could be taken away.
What did you gain from being a Falcon?
It's a good one. I think for me, growing up at LD, I was there 13 years, whatever. I think I gained a sense of community. I think having my siblings up there before me, I had somewhat of the same coaches, and that really just gave me people to look back on and helped me with many ways, especially when I had 4 different coaches my 4 years of volleyball, so it helped a lot.
So if you could go back and change anything from a high school, what would it be?
Honestly, I don't think anything. I think everything really happens for a reason, so, I mean, if I would have changed anything, I don't know if I'd be the same person I am today. Coffee with Coach. I gotta do that again. Okay, wait. I need to practice. Okay, wait.
That was a double wink.